Robinson Show.
Hey guys, how you doing?
What's going on, Joe?
Joe!
Hey, just give us a couple seconds. We're just sitting down, getting back from break.
Cool. Sounds good.
How are you, Joe?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Very good, very good. We are. It's cold out, dude. It went from like, I think 90 degrees last week to like 20, 30 degrees. Like, I feel like buildings are going to
have
collapse.
mercy.
I was surprised. It's like
I do not miss that cold. I don't miss that cold. Like,
Yeah.
it's starting to get like cold, like LA cold here, you know, like in the 60s and 50s, and I'm already like freezing. Like, I'm going out, I'm like, Jesus, I have to go and like dig out my leather coat and the winter coat that I spent too much at when I bought it at the Gap last year.
Dude, it's crazy.
We
like,
didn't even have like a hoodie weather at all for
No,
like.
I think it's gonna get there this weekend, but yeah, right now it's like there was frost. There's like end of November weather we're having.
That's what I think. It's the complete opposite
Yeah.
of last year. Last year in Jersey, we were hot until like on Christmas.
Christmas,
I had
people
to turn on the air
conditioners
conditioner.
on.
Yeah.
Yes, Christmas was in the 80s, Joe, and like really muggy, I think.
Yeah.
It's crazy. And then it's, you know, this is just, to me, I want to just say, like, you know, with this weather, this is a big fuck you to people who say, like, that there's no climate change and the weather's not changing and everything. I'm like, do you even go outside?
Right.
Do you have any concept of weather or changing degrees or what a temperature is?
The season changes. They're just
think-
whacked anymore.
Yeah.
The sun, like, a lot of times determines that shit.
When
too.
is that
like,
thing gonna hit us? I remember in
Yeah,
like
the fucking
elementary
solar
school,
flare, man.
they said
Like-
we're getting like an inch closer to the sun every year, and we're just gonna burn up.
Oh,
sometime.
yeah.
When is that happening?
And then it's supposed to, like, swell up and, like, swallow.
When does it turn to a dwarf too? Don't they go to like a red giant
Yeah,
and
they,
then
like,
a white
collapse.
dwarf?
Yeah.
Oh, Joe, have you been doing a lot of acting lately? I saw. Did you have a lot of like auditions lately?
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of auditions and just, you know, trying to do all the business side of it and then all the admin stuff, you know, just sending out my materials to casting directors and directors and all of that stuff, just trying to find jobs and all that stuff. And I just took some new headshots, and they look really well and really good. So I'm excited.
I saw them. I think I used one.
Reps those.
I think I used one of your headshots in the
Yeah, you
collage I
did.
made.
You did. I
That was
love
cool.
that. Thank you so much. Yeah, the photographer's name is Sheldon Botler, and there's some of the best headshots that I've ever taken. I was so happy. I'm like, wow, you finally captured who I am and what I'm trying to sell to this crazy business.
Nice. We were talking to an actor, he's an actor and a comedian a few weeks ago. We were just talking about the headshot scam. Like, it's always like you go for an audition, it's like, yeah, you got to go to our guy. Who's
And even if you had old headshots, you can't use your
Oh,
old
no.
headshots. You gotta
Even though the new ones look exactly the same, you cannot use the old ones because they got their own guy.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. Like, I always tell, you know, because I sometimes go and I speak at like acting classes or like colleges or whatever, especially when I go back home to like Denver, you know, it's like they bring me in to speak to some of the acting classes and some of the teachers I know. And I'm always just like, you know, just research everyone, especially in this day and age. I don't know how people can still be getting scammed in acting, because it's like we have Yelp, we have Facebook, we have Twitter, we have Google.
Yeah.
It's like you can find dirt on, you know, everyone. And I do that with everyone when I am looking for, you know, new representation or going in for, you know, a casting director or have a meeting with the director, or even when I'm taking an acting class. It's like the first thing I'm doing is like, you know, typing in the name, and, you know, I'm always like, you know, so-and-so, scam, ripoff, you know, it's like I try to find the dirt out on people, you know?
Yeah, you have to. You have to nowadays, especially with something like that, dude. Especially.
Yeah.
I always wondered with those, like, when you talk in front of students, do those things pay?
Not really, but because it's like, I mean, I guess, you know, if I was like more of a name and more of a somebody, you know, it's like I know my place in this world. I'm a nobody. I could probably like ask for some money, but because I'm doing it at like, like the college that I went to, or doing it for friends, I'm like, yeah, I'm in town, I'll do it. It's a nice way for me to like see my friends again and just like
That's cool.
reconnect and all that stuff. And I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in this way that I think, but I've never been kind of like run by money. You know what I mean? Like money is not that important to me, which is probably why I never have any. But I never do anything just for the money, and I never like demand money. Like I'm the stupid asshole that like if I do something for someone and it's like really low budget, they'll like, oh, how much do you charge? How much do I have to pay you to be in my film or whatever? And I'm always like, how much do you have in your budget to pay me? You know?
Right.
I got a question. My little sister, she's kind of like wants to get into that whole field, like acting, I guess, like Broadway. Do you have any advice for that? Like what she should do? She's only 19. She's taking classes for it right now. But
yeah, I would say like just study, get in with some, good, reputable teachers, preferably teachers that are still working and that are still auditioning. I unfortunately don't know. I'm not connected with a lot of the acting teachers on the East Coast. If she was here in LA, I could be like, yeah, go to this teacher, study here, do this or do that. But I would say, oh my God, I don't even know what a good school in the East Coast for acting would be. But I would say just do her research and talk to other actors about it. I'm probably going to get in trouble for this, but don't do acting in college, because it's like generally the people who are teaching acting in college haven't worked in years and years and years.
Yeah.
So it's like they don't know what's going on in the business. They can't teach you what we need to do now in the business. They're still teaching the techniques that it was, 30 years ago.
Dude,
and
that's
that
it.
has changed.
I had a instructor in high school that had worked for NBC as well, and then I went to college for acting, and it's like everything they taught me was wrong compared to what she taught me, and I'm like, these guys, they don't know what they're talking about.
So you're saying that
there's acting teachers out here where they're famous, like that, all of their students are these poor kids who spent all this money to get a theater degree, and the agents are sending them to certain acting teachers to unlearn all of the bad habits and all of the bad college acting that they're doing.
Wow.
It's like managers now that manage like a lot of the kids and the child actors, they're telling the kids, they're telling the teenagers, telling the parents, like, if they're going to go to college, don't waste the money on the theater degree. Get like a business degree so they know how to treat this as a business, and just study with teachers that are still working. It's like, I mean, thank God the teacher that I study with, like, she's still a working actress. She's still repped, going on auditions. She's been working for 40 years, and she's done it all. She's done movies, she's done Broadway, she's worked in London and Canada. Like, it's like, Jesus Christ, like, that's the type of person you should be going for, not someone who, has like one thing on their resume and hasn't done anything in 30 years.
It's cool that they let you back in your school, because I remember a year or two ago, we saw a story of Nicki Minaj. She tried to go back to her high school to speak, and they wouldn't even let her. They wouldn't even let her.
That's because it's Nicki Minaj.
In the Bronx or something, they're like, we don't even want you, you scumbag.
Oh my God.
That's amazing.
She just looks like a bad caricature.
She's a creep.
But Joe, so you think the education, the type of education you get in acting, that really determines where you go with your career?
Oh yeah, because if you're not trained, then you're not going to know how to do anything, and it's like, you need to know how to get the subtext of the lines, and how to, evaluate, how to find the point of view, how to make positive choices even when you're playing a bad guy. It's like, I remember I was taking a class with the casting director for Days of Our Lives years ago when I first came out here, and she's like, on Days of Our Lives on the soap operas, we don't cast bad guys, and we don't have bad guys on the soap operas. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, yes, soap operas have bad guys. And then she went on to explain, she's like, we have good people who have made bad choices. Because that's more interesting to watch. And it's like, oh, well, okay, yeah, that's why we all like the villains and everything.
In anime, I noticed
people
that.
who have made bad choices.
They always explain why the bad guy does what he does, and he's not really, like, you like that.
Except for, like, Dragon Ball Z, they just, like, straight up threw
Yeah. But I remember Full Metal Alchemist, like Scar, he was the biggest piece of garbage, but then you saw his backstory and you felt bad for that guy, like.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, my teacher, Gloria Gifford, she's always telling us when we're doing scenes in class, she's always like, where is the love? Where is the love? And she's written a book. She's in the process of getting it published, and that's the name of her fucking acting book, is Where is the Love? And it's true. It's true, though. It's like we want to see... Because, it's Gloria always says, and it's true, every scene between a man and a woman is a love scene, and I think you can even go further and say every scene between anyone is a love scene, because that's more interesting, I
remember, too, when I was taught acting with the improv, my teacher always said, go, never disagree with anybody. It's always yes and. It's always yes and.
Exactly. Exactly, and people aren't taught that, or it's like, I know so many people who... they take one, 4-week class at UCB and suddenly they're like, oh, I'm this great improv actor. I can do Mad TV. I can do Saturday Night Live. I'm like, no, you can't. You have to take more than just a month of classes, more than 3 months of classes. You look at, all these actors that are working, and so many of them, they're like, oh, yeah, I studied for 10 years before I got my first audition, or, I had, 20 years of rejection before I got my first big thing. And even, that wonderfully funny black woman from the new Ghostbusters, what's it, Leslie Jones? It's like, she struggled for like 20 years, and her first major thing wasn't until her 40s.
Wow.
But she kept working at it. She kept studying her craft, and now look at her.
Do you think it's also something you never stop studying, even when you do make it?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I know, like, I'm mentioning her a lot, and I don't mean to sound like I'm name dropping, but Gloria was in Milton Katselis's master class at the Beverly Hills Playhouse. And all of that, the master class was nothing but working actors. And she was in class with Doris Roberts from Everybody Loves Raymond. And Doris was this was while Doris was doing Everybody Loves Raymond and after she had won the Emmy. So if someone like Doris Roberts, who had this huge career, had done Broadway, Emmy winner, had done all these TV shows, if she's still in acting class, your ass better be in acting class too, because it's like, I think if you're in New York, if you're in LA, if you're trying to do acting as a career, we're like the Olympians of our business. And if you look at all the Olympians that have gold medals, they're always coaching, they're always studying, they're always keeping their muscles sharp. And, every studio, every film set has a teacher, has an acting coach there for the actors, And I don't care who you are in the business, everybody has a coach that they go to.
Cool. That's like a whole nother layer, like something you never think. Like when you watch these movies.
I never thought that too. Even like you see a seasoned veteran of an actor.
Yeah, you just assume he's really talented and he just does it. Like
he's got it down.
Yeah, it's because it's like they know they want to keep those skills sharp. They still want to compete. They still want to go to that level. And the best actors too are readers. Yeah, I think if you don't like to read, if you don't want to read, you're a fool if you're going to try and get in this business, because all of these books, like, that's all your subtext. So it's like, if you want to be a leading man or a leading woman and do like a lot of romances, I think you need to read romance books, because all of those scenes when they're describing how they're looking, how they're feeling, all of that bullshit, that's your subtext. That's what makes it interesting. That's what brings that scene to life.
Speaking of reading, could you read us something, Joe?
Sure.
And you
I'll
said
read something really bad.
You said that Harvest Howl, it's not being published anymore?
Yeah, unfortunately, the publisher for Harvest Howl was one of the publishers that went out of business because no one reads anymore, unfortunately. But I have the rights back to it, and I've sent it off to a couple of other publishers I know, so it will be published again in the future. I just don't know when, because I want to continue the series, because that was my original intention. That was supposed to be the first book in the series. But I figure, since it's almost Halloween, my third novel that I wrote was actually a horror novel, and it's called In the Tarot, because I'm really into that. I'm really into tarot cards, astrology, all of that. And this book is still available. It's available from Rainstorm Press. You can get it on Amazon. It's in ebook, it's in audiobook form, and the actress who did the audiobook is so fucking amazing. I got chills when I was listening to her. I was like, oh my God, I wrote this. This is so cool. And it's also available in print form if you're old-fashioned and like to hold the book. And, you know, I always say this on social media, and people can contact me for the details, but anyone who buys the print copy of it, you know, if you send it to me, I'll sign it. So all that. So, and it's an easy book. I mean, it was my third book, so it's awful. Like, you know, every writer, you know, their first, like, 10 books are bad. But it's fun. People seem to like it because it's fucked up. So this is this is a fucked up chapter. This is chapter 9. Okay, so here we go.
Should I mute us?
Angie was in Jesse's arms. The two of them had just finished making love. It was everything Jesse had dreamed it would be. It was passionate and beautiful. His chest puffed out with pride when Angie told him after that he was better than Chase. Chase may be bigger than you, she said gently, rubbing her hands over Jesse's chest, but he doesn't know how to use it. I always had to fake it with him. Jesse merely shrugged his shoulders as if he heard this compliment all the time. I'm glad you decided to move in with me, Jesse said, kissing her forehead. I should have moved in with you when you first asked me. I never should have moved in with Chase. God, that was a mistake. I'm sorry. It's okay. You came to your senses. We can be together now. Forever, he promised gently as he stroked her soft red tendrils. Jess, there's one more thing I have to tell you. What? He asked. Angie opened her mouth, and a loud, shrill beeping emitted from her throat. Jesse stared at her in shock. Her mouth was moving, but instead of words, that incessant, maddening beeping was the only thing that emitted from her. Angie became blurry, resembling a painting that had been submerged under water. Soon he was shrouded in blackness. It felt like he was falling. His body rocked back and forth like the tilting deck of the Titanic. Soon the blackness transformed to blurriness. The shrill beeping never missed a beat. Jesse blinked the sleep from his eyes and looked around the room. His alarm clock was loud in his ears. What the fuck, he thought, confused. The apartment was still and dark. The only light came from the moon. He looked at his alarm clock. Midnight. Why was his alarm going off? Jesse silenced the alarm and laid back in the bed. He could still feel Angie in his arms, could still smell her. Closing his eyes, he turned on his side, stretched out his arms, and brushed the soft hair that was next to him. The soft hair that was next to him? Opening his eyes, Jesse screamed when he saw what was in bed with him. A powder white skeleton was lying next to him, head turned, staring at him. A deathly grin was painted on its face. Long red hair cascaded past its shoulders. Jesse's breathing was rapid. His stomach rose and fell heavily. Jesse didn't know what to do. Should he stay there? Run out of the apartment? Call for help? His chest was growing tighter and tighter, and it was getting harder to breathe. He felt pressure against the side of his skull, pushing against it harder and harder, wanting to crush it. My God, this is so bad. I feel so bad for your readers.
Sorry, we had the mics muted. We did hear that the whole time, though. That was great.
That's like 2 more paragraphs and then I'll stop.
Okay.
Awesome. What's going on? He thought, feeling the ice-cold sweat drench his body. First the dog, now this. Jesse's eyes grew large and nearly popped out of his head when the skeleton got up, rolled on top of him, and straddled him. The skeleton started laughing maniacally, high, shrill laugh that sent chills up and down Jesse's spine as it lustfully bounced up and down on him. Jesse let out a disgusted, shame-filled moan and was horrified to find that he was hard as steel. The skeleton's laughter turned to moans that sounded like a lion, guitar, and piano were being mangled in a wood chipper. Its hands moved over its body, throwing its head back. It screamed louder and louder. Jesse fought with all his might, but even though it was nothing but bones, the skeleton was surprisingly strong. The two struggled and rolled off the bed. Jesse landed with a grunt. His arm hit his dresser. His legs scraped against the bed. He was sure he had drawn blood. His briefs had slid off his hips, and his penis hit the skeleton's leg bone. The skeleton gripped his hard penis, and much to Jesse's horror, put it inside its pubic bone. The skeleton fucked him hard. Jesse screamed for help and tried to get away. but all he could do was lie back and cry as the skeleton raped him until his penis throbbed and he shot load after load of white cum inside the skeleton. What's happening to me, he thought, as the whole world turned to blackness. So there you go, a peek inside my fucked up mind. That's why I don't do drugs.
That's amazing.
Wow!
Fucking skeleton rape. That's
That's new. That's new. I've never heard that before. Very original. Very amazing. You know what's funny is you brought up the character with the alarm clock in the dream. I've had full dreams that felt like they've last forever, where I was trying to figure out where that beeping was coming through. And that was the dream where I'd be like, is it the car? And yeah, it's crazy, man.
You ever been having a dream, and I haven't dreamt, I don't even know in how long, but when the alarm goes off, you dream that it's happening in the dream? Like,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Where
or
like,
the TV or something, because I used to have an alarm on my TV, so the TV would come on, and I'd start dreaming that I was watching. It was just, it's weird.
like I was saying, I'll have dreams where me and like my dream characters would be trying to figure out where the beeping was. It's like, is it there? Is it the car? And you go on this whole journey
That's
trying
funny.
to find the
Or
beeping.
have you ever had the lame work dream where you're at work and it's just a lame work day, and then you wake up and you're like, fuck, now I have to go to work, and it's just
Yes.
depressing.
Yes.
No, I never had
I've had
those.
that.
Oh.
What about when you were younger, right? Like still in high school, and you were up all night doing your homework, and
I
then
never
you
did
go
homework.
to sleep. You go to sleep, and then you're dreaming that you're still doing your homework, like up until like you got to get up, like.
Or the
Yeah,
nights,
yeah.
too, where you just don't even know if you really slept. You ever have those
Yes,
where you think
yeah.
you just laid in bed all night, like that's not
Yeah.
slept? Those are weird.
Joe, I actually have a question going back to the acting thing. I was wondering, for somebody who is studying acting, are there books that you would recommend that are like a must-read for actors?
Yeah, I think everyone should read Michael Shurtleff's book called Audition. I think everyone should read Milton Katselas' book, Acting Class, Take a Seat. Let's see, what else are good ones? Gordon Hunt, Helen Hunt's father, wrote a book called How to Audition, and there's a great book. It just came out. It's by this guy named Kevin E. West, who's been a working actor for years and years and years. It's called The 7 Deadly Sins the Actor Overcomes. And I think that should be required for everyone in the business, whether they're just starting out or, have been doing it for years and years and years.
Cool.
But those are like the main ones that I think. Plus, I think just read, the biographies and the autobiographies of everyone that's working or that, has been working, and just see what they did. And, I just finished Pam Grier's book. She was Foxy Brown, and I just finished her autobiography. And I love it. She talks about still auditioning and putting in the work and doing all of that. And this was after she was famous and after she had done Foxy Brown and all of that. I'm reading Bruce Campbell's book now, If Chins Could Kill. And it's fascinating. I love biographies on actors because you see the work never stops.
Yeah.
You're always auditioning, you're always studying, you're always getting better and stronger and working on your craft.
Nice. Joe, are you? I saw you're a big fan of horror movies. I wanted to ask you for Halloween, what is your favorite horror movie of all time?
Jesus, I feel like I'm in fucking Scream. Favorite horror movie of all time? I think probably Friday the 13th Part 2, because that was the first real horror movie that I saw. And I don't know, I just love the atmosphere of it. I love the feel of it, the look. I love the characters of it. And I love those 80s, slasher films.
Yeah.
Like that. They were just so fun. I look at those, I'm like, oh my God, that must have been so much fun to make,
Yeah, I agree, dude. I love the original Halloween. That's one of my favorites. Anything from that time, like Friday the 13th.
Yeah, well,
like
my teacher, since you love Halloween, then you probably know my acting teacher, Gloria Gifford. She was in the original Halloween 2. She was Mrs. Alves, the black head nurse.
Wow.
The one that they find on the table with the blood, dripping out of her and everything. And oh my God, there's a reason they didn't film Gloria's death scene, because she is tough as nails. She would have put Michael Myers in his fucking place.
Nice. Nice, dude.
Yeah.
Nice, dude. Joe, we have to wrap this up, but thank you so much for talking to us, brother. What? Where can everybody
Thank you guys.
find
It's always
you?
a pleasure.
Always.
You can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/official Joe Filippone, Twitter and Instagram @Joe Filippone, and I have a YouTube channel with clips of shit that I've done, youtube.com/thehiphopjoe.
Awesome. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you guys. I'll talk to you soon.
We will.
Have a good one.
Later,
Joe.
dude.
Bye.